said because it was a voluntary program, they didn't have to work with us. There's no reason they had to work with us. We wanted to make it easy for the stores. We decided, they said, to target a very specific audience. That was the ones that were most likely to be using pesticides and maybe not using them appropriately. We could have worked on all the other rest of the universe of people. We do that all the time. We talk about pests bugging you and talk about general messages and stuff, but we decided to focus on this particular audience who's walking in the hardware store Saturday morning. I've got a problem. I've got to take care of it right now. I've got other things to do today. That's who we wanted to be talking to. Some people look at this program as a product-based program. They kind of, even the master gardeners look at it and say, well, you guys are promoting products, aren't you? Not really. What we're really focusing on is a particular audience who has already decided, I am going to go buy a product. Well, let's talk to you about the product you're going to buy. You've already made that decision. As I say, it involves those local businesses. They deliver our message. A couple of the key things that I heard this morning wrote down that aren't bullet points here. We decided we were going to, our messages are really kind of problem-solving messages. So our fact sheets, which I'll show you in a second, don't say, here's a problem with water quality, and oh, by the way, here's how you can help with pesticide use. We come right after them and say, you have a problem with ants, here's your ant answer. Our water quality messages is in a sidebar on the back page. We downplay it. Now, this is hard for government agencies to do because they always want to be talking, justifying why they're doing something. But you have to say, no, we've got to put that in the back page. The public does not care. They just have a bug problem. The person standing in the aisle looking, they want an answer for the ant problem. They don't care about your water quality issues. Okay, we'll put that on the back page. The other key thing was no home remedies. There's a soundbite. No home remedies. We said we cannot, if we're going to be talking about other products, they have to be effective, at least as determined by the marketplace, if you will. No home remedies, because this has to be at a very high level of scientifically based sort of education. And again, that was hard for some people. We often get people saying, how about this, how about that? We say, you can promote that, we're not going to be promoting that. The partnership elements, it's about 9 years in now, 10 years in actually this year, 2007. As I said, starting in the Bay Area, we started off with maybe 4 stores in the Palo Alto area near Stanford and in Contra Costa in the eastern part of the Bay Area, and quickly went to about 100 stores about the next year. And then went to a quasi-state, we're not quite in the full San Diego area, but everywhere else in the state as of 2004. Over 300 stores. California has 58 counties. We're in about 23 other counties in California. These are some of the other elements to the program. We do a lot of store employee training about. It's interesting. The hardware stores, they mostly just want to know what is the product you're talking about. How do I tell people about them? What are the fact sheets and that kind of educational material? Nurseries obviously are more interested in the details of IPM. We do some trainings on that as well. Master gardeners are involved with some of the programs around the state. All kinds of other mechanisms we get the word out through public workshops, and of course evaluation is critical. We're actually pressed by the people that give us money, the city councils. It just sounds great on paper, but are you guys actually making a difference? Are you actually achieving something? And so the people I work with have to make sure they can show that. We have some of the key materials for the program are these fact sheets. I've got samples here, and I'll turn it onto our website where you can see these, but we've got now 30 fact sheets. They typically are front and back of one piece of paper, sometimes 4 panels, but fact sheets now, we have 30 of them, 15 in English, 15 in Spanish. You have to do stuff in Spanish in California at least. And these are the kind of, this is sort of the basis for those. Most of them are bug-based, so it says ants or aphids or cockroaches. The first thing somebody sees when they walk in the store on the literature rack is, oh, I got ant problems. Oh, there's an ant thing. Let me look at this. We have a few that are based on plant kits. We talked about healthy turf, healthy gardens, you have less pests, so we have a couple based on that. Some of them are based on methods, how to just, in general, how to have a more healthy garden. Use and disposal is a big issue for us, of course, as well. The House of Hazardous Waste people want to know that we're telling people the right things about if you have your leftover cans of whatever, how to dispose of them properly. That's important to us too. And we started getting into talking about working with pest control operators as well. Most of this is about the do-it-yourselfer, but we've also realized, and this is a chance for us to talk to them about, if you hire a professional, here's what to ask for in a professional. Do they know about this? Here's some probing questions to ask to see if they really know about IPM, or they just know the acronym. We have a less toxic product list as well, which is on the website, and that is a key element actually. It's, we have several forms of it, but this is done for us every year by the Biointegral Resource Center out of Berkeley, well-established, internationally known organization, scientifically based, who says, here are what we consider less toxic pest products across not just the homeowner front, but across the agricultural arena too. We work our list off of their list, basically, and then add as new products come on the market every year. have little shelf talkers that help people identify in the store what is less toxic, as determined by the less toxic pest list. So we have little shelf talkers look like this. I'll show you a picture in a second. We have them in Spanish as well, because some stores in parts of California actually have a much higher Hispanic consumer than they do from just plain English speaking. And then we have other things, special displays and things as well, which I'll show you. Here's a typical look in the store. You walk in the beginning of the pesticide aisle, you see a literature rack there with all these fact sheets lined up, which people can take, which the employees know to direct somebody to in case they ask a question about an answer. Here, take a look at this first, and then let's talk about what you might need to help you out. Here's a look at the shelf talker there. In that center area, we actually type in with a label the name of the product that shelf talker goes. And what happens is that shelf talker gets placed on the shelf right below where that product is lined up. And we've gone through anybody who works at retailers knows these things are kind of, they fly off the shelves, they fall off, so we've gone through all kinds of interesting discussions about how to make those stay on the shelf. And help, because they really help guide people. And they help the employees too. Even though they've gone through the training, it helps them direct people. Here's an early version of a character we used to use as a turtle. Unfortunately, we moved away from this because people thought we were talking about aquariums mostly. And we, well, you know, duh, of course you're talking about aquariums. One of the things you learn as you work with the public is, you know, our perceptions were not their perceptions. But then we work with certain stores and give us these end cap displays where they were highlighting products right on the end cap. Those of you who work with retailers know this is a very high value spot. I think they sell these for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we worked with one chain in California that actually gave us sales for 2 months at a time. Valuation, critical aspect of this, and very difficult for agencies to do. I've kind of characterized in very gross terms the kinds of evaluations we do generally. We do people surveys, as I call them. We also do product surveys. We did, obviously, evaluations when we did the interview, we did the training with the stores and the employees and talked with the store managers. We obviously interviewed them about the program to make sure that it was well targeted and designed what they thought was best, and the employee training surveys. We also do, so many agencies do a lot of general survey stuff. What do you know about this? What do you know about that? And we do them all the time to help show whether they're having an impact. Do you know what the strain in the street is? Do you know that it does not get treated this water that goes in here? That's the kind of thing we're asking all the time. We've also done a number of product surveys, whether they're sales data. And some of the stores actually were willing and able to show us sales data in terms of what they were selling in the terms of their products, so we can get a sense of whether the less toxic products were going to be ramping up and others were going to be ramping down, and just what was going to be happening there. And also just shelf space surveys where you go on, how many inches for this, how many inches for that. We've been collecting data on that as well. In the early days of the program, the pilot program, and working with maybe a dozen stores of the first 100 or so, we shared the information with. This was a very typical feedback we got from them was, this is what my customers want. Why wouldn't I? We walked in and said, hi, we're from the government, we're here to help. Classic, you know, thing to walk in with. And they said, sure you are, come on. And we said, no, it's free, it's voluntary, it's positive. Okay, I'm with you now, keep talking, maybe you're here to help me. And we kind of kept working with them. And so in the end they said, well, okay, why wouldn't I want you to be here? And it turned out that many of the products that we were talking about were ones that they happened to have had on their shelves, but maybe they weren't placed in the highest profile area. Maybe they had some dust on them. Maybe they weren't buying as much of them because they were coming from smaller manufacturers. So once they got the idea of the program, it wasn't hard to sell to the store managers. And again, they said their customers want this. So and this is 10 years ago. Now they're saying they definitely want this because the industry has kind of hit a tipping point in the last year or so. We also, in looking at the dozen stores or so sales data, we found out that in general it did not hurt their bottom line, which was really helpful for the store managers to know. Everything else being equal, if it's neutral or slightly positive, then I'm really into this. This is great, and that's what we were able to show. And in general, the sales of the conventionals were kind of, as we call them, conventionals, traditionals, if you will, were kind of dropping off a little bit, and the sales of less toxics were going up. It's been a general industry trend anyway. We'd like to think we've had some influence on that, but that was a key aspect for the managers to stay in the program and for new ones to join in. In the fifth year of the program, we did some more people and product surveys, and as I said, this is the kind of dynamic that we were showing. We were showing that we were moving from conventionals like diazoxide and chlorpyrifos to those plus more diverse product lines in the stores and more diverse choices by consumers. And that we went from just a couple of major active ingredients, diazoxide and chlorpyrifos, to many, many more active ingredients. We got an EPA, I got a PSP grant about the 6th year of the program to do two things. One was to get it beyond the San Francisco Bay Area, and the second thing was to do a real evaluation of the program.